Good afternoon, evening, or morning. I'm the Mainly Digger, and this video is about a trip I took. I had an appointment, and then I took a Route 1 back because I hate highways, and I got a text from my wife. So I had to pull over. I pulled over at a park and talked to my wife. And this park, I noticed this bridge. And this bridge I love bridges and architecture. And this bridge was gorgeous. Just the water is picture perfect. I have a couple pictures of it because I do that. And this park was a historic park, so I decided to do a video on it. And in this video, or well, not even in the video, there was something about it that just sent me down a rabbit hole and about, I don't know, the King's Highway. And I did some research on that because that sent me down a rabbit hole, and I do that. And then I went on. I got in my car and I drove down Route 1. I've done this multiple times. And I pulled over at an old pioneer cemetery. And there's a video in here too. So somehow this video started off at a park and turned into a video about the King's Highway and in Maine, and it was fun. It was a couple fun rabbit holes that I went down. So spoiler alert, I went to two different spots, and I tell the stories about them. So they're cool spots, they're historic spots. But after that, I review some of my old pictures. Or I don't review them, I put them up, and if you want to look at them, you can. Most of them are all of them are metal detecting related, but they're from Pennsylvania. I was just looking through them and getting all nostalgic and remembering different things and stuff like that, and all the stories, especially the bird poop story. So we're in Portland. This is a park I just saw and I had to stop at. I love the bridge. That is an awesome bridge. I love history, so I stopped, saw this. Used to be a gristle mill. Kind of maybe future scouting out different areas in Portland. It's kind of a long distance from Maine, but always good to know where these spots are. Kind of describes the gristle mill that was here. It was the John Phillips gristle mill in 1657, and apparently there was another one in 1735. So, oh, that's cool. What was left of the King's Highway in 1735. So seeing this sign, not just this sign, but what's above the sign, it says the King's Highway. I've heard of the King's Highway in Maine. Obviously, was started in 16 something. So I went down the rabbit hole and I had to do some research. So the King's Highway in Maine started in 1761, but there was a highway, or somewhat multiple different roads that were hard to access before that. So when Maine was a part of Massachusetts back in the 1700s, they had a hard time going up to Maine because it was just wildlife. There was nothing up here, so except a couple of towns. Even the towns didn't have roads or permanent roads. So they just had like trails. In 1761, Massachusetts sent soldiers into the local communities, so Brunswick, York, Wells, just local communities to gather men to build these. They took the men to make roads that could be traveled on versus the trails that they had. So they forced labor on these guys to make roads so they could have mail come through. They could travel on these roads, make travel easier on these roads. That route became Route 1. Route 1 is pretty much the alternative to the highway in Maine. It runs along the coast. As you can see, this is Route 1, and it goes all the way up north. So Route 1 at one time was once the King's Highway. Crossed at Lower Falls. So, I don't know, for me, that is more details that I can use in research for metal detecting and whatever else. So that is cool. This is a beautiful spot, gorgeous little park. And you have these stones, grinding stones, I guess, that were a part of the mill. That is pretty cool. Yarmouth, this is historic Yarmouth. We are at a cemetery. Yarmouth is extremely old, extremely old. Really nice to drive through. I've never actually looked at the history. It was settled in 1680 and twice destroyed by Indians, if you can see that. So yeah, village improved society 1969. I don't know what that means. Anyway, so cemetery, we're gonna go through the cemetery. So that is just, it's a family plot. It starts off with Reverend Gilman. I don't know exactly. I don't know any of these people are. I haven't done my research. For this stop, this is the rabbit hole, the journey that I went down. For whatever reason, this headstone, or this family plot headstone, whatever you want to call it, or whatever they call it, caught my eye. So Reverend Tristram Gilman, he here it says he was born in New Hampshire, but in the birth records, or in his records, it says he was born in Maine. Says he was born in Androscoggin County. So little difference there in the research. I don't really know where he was actually born, but the rest of his family was born in Exeter or from Exeter. So it's just interesting to do the research on these people who actually existed. He went to Harvard. He moved to Maine, and for 50 years preached at the local Yarmouth church, North Yarmouth Church. So just a really cool rabbit hole to jump down. That's what it was. That's all it turned out to be. Awesome and fun times, mainly together. Right, so the family plot starting off in 1735 right there. That's cool. I wish I had more time to go explore the cemetery, but I do not. It's just cool. I saw this and I stopped, and this is where a lot of the first families of Maine stopped and started to settle, and then shortly after moved on. So you see a lot of these names throughout Maine, and it's just cool to me. This is like the first stopping point for these original settlers of Maine. So, all right, I'm done. Mainly dig out.